Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lisa and I produce video-related content here on YouTube. Beauty chit chat, reviews, tutorials, all that good stuff. I also have a blog, madeupmom.com, which I will link down below, where I share other topics that I'm passionate about, including health, fitness, nutrition, family, clothing, motherhood, all that good stuff. So I hope that you'll check that out. This video is going to be a follow-up video to a video that I posted about 4 to 6 weeks ago that I feel like a lot of you discovered my channel through that video. It was foundation tips for mature skin. That video has gotten a lot of views on my channel. I mean, I'm a small channel, so getting almost 60,000 views in 4 or 5 weeks is a lot for me. And I feel like I've gained a lot of new subscribers over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I think a lot of you guys found me through that video. So that tells me that you guys are interested in makeup tips for mature skin. So I thought I would do this video as a follow-up to that. It's eye makeup tips for mature skin. So this video is really just going to be me giving you 5 basic tips for mature skin as it comes to the eyelids. I do want to do makeup on my mom or someone that is kind of more in her, 50s, mid 50s, early 60s. So I will be hoping to do that pretty soon. For today, I'm just going to be giving you tips on eye makeup for mature eyes. Okay, so the first tip is going to be always start with a primer. So if you have an eyelid that has a lot of sagging, or your eyelid maybe folds in certain places, naturally our bodies warm up. And so when you have skin to skin, that tends to be an area that's probably going to crease. It's going to get a little warmer. You may be a little oilier there. So you want to make sure that you put a primer to keep your shadow on all day, to keep it from moving and settling in those fine lines. So you always want to make sure you want to use a primer. But with that said, you want to make sure that the primer has a very thin layer and a thin consistency. It's all about keeping products on the eyes to a minimum. You don't want to layer and put too much product in the eyes, because too much product, just like foundation, just like I talked about in the foundation video, having too much product will magnify texture. So find an eye primer that's very thin in consistency. I wouldn't even recommend the primer that I use, which is the MAC Paint Pot. I would recommend the Too Faced Shadow Insurance or the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. I forget the name of it, but I'll link those two down below. NARS has one that's also really thin. You basically want to look for one that's thin, clear, and that is not a thick, creamy product. So I will link everything that I mentioned down below for you guys. So you want to make sure that you have a thin layer of eye primer. You also want to make sure that you have a thin layer of eyeshadows. Now that doesn't mean that you can't use several different eyeshadows. You just want to make sure that you don't layer too much on the eye. When it comes to matte versus shimmer, you'll hear a lot of different things out there on the internet. If you start Googling makeup for mature eyes, I mean, I was kind of doing that to prepare for this video, and I found a lot of different makeup artists telling me a lot of different things. And I know what I believe as a makeup artist, and I know what works well for me, so that's what I'm sharing with you guys. I used to think only matte eyeshadows for like really textured eyes, but I've kind of moved away from that, because I feel like the quality of eyeshadows these days has really gotten so good that you can find really nice satin eyeshadows that don't magnify the texture so much, and that actually look really pretty on the eyes. Even if there is some texture or crepiness or folding of the skin, I still feel like they're pretty. You just have to be strategic with where you place it and how much of it you put on it. So in general, when I'm working with a shadow that has any shimmer, although I do stay away from foiled eyeshadows, I stay away from like chunky glitter or foiled or very metallic shadows. I kind of stay away from those. I like to go with really high quality shimmer shadows or satin formula shadows. Those tend to have just the right amount of sheen, but not be too much, because remember, shimmer and glitter and all of that catches the attention of light, and it brings attention to an area. So if you use something really shimmery and really bright on the eyelid and there's a lot of texture there, you're just going to draw attention to that. So you want to make sure that you find something that is just a sheen, if that makes sense. And I also like to apply it with a fluffy brush. So I don't like to use a really dense packed brush. I like to use something that's a little fluffier. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so these are dirty, but okay, so this is the difference. Like, I like to use something like this that's softer for a more aging eye than something like this that is really dense when I'm working with shimmer. Okay, if I'm working with matte, then I'll use this. But overall, this is going to pick up a lighter application of product, which is what we want to do, right? We want to keep everything really thin and sheer. But especially when it comes to shimmer, I like to use something a little softer. It doesn't have to be this big, but you want something that's not really short and dense bristles. Quality of shadow. I know we all want good quality eyeshadow, but especially when you're dealing with a lot of texture on the eyelid, if you're working with well, I mean, matte or shimmer, but especially shimmer, you want good quality. My favorite brands that carry really great, high quality, rich in pigment. The reason you want it to have a lot of pigment is because, again, you don't want to have to use too much of it. You want to just use a little sheer layer and get the right amount of color that you're seeking. So you need good quality products. Natasha Denona is one of my, a brand that I recommend for everybody, but especially aging eyes, because it's just a beautiful, rich, quality pigment eyeshadow that you're not gonna have to apply a lot to get a desirable payoff. Makeup Geek has a really great line of rich pigment, creamy eyeshadows. Stay away from the foiled ones though, because again, those are gonna be too metallic. Viseart is a really great line of eyeshadows that they're a little bit on the higher end, as is Natasha Denona. Makeup Geek's a really affordable one, but Viseart is a great line of eyeshadows that is going to allow you to get a rich color with not a lot of effort and not a lot of product. And then also Anastasia Beverly Hills has a really great line of shadows, and Buxom. Buxom is a brand that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love here on YouTube. I never see tutorials or videos talking about Buxom eyeshadows. I did a review on them a while back, and I'll link that video down below. But Buxom has a really great line of eyeshadows, and they're pretty affordable. You can get a palette of 4 for like $40, but those are really nice as well. So those are some of my favorite to work with. But overall, matte shadows are your friend. Shimmer shadows can definitely complement the eye, and I do incorporate those when I'm doing mature eye. Again, it's just all about strategy and where you place it. Don't place it on an area where it tends to have a lot of texture. Maybe in the inner corner of the eye to highlight and brighten, maybe on the brow bone to lift, maybe on the center of the lid, just a sheer amount, just to give a little bit of a pop when you're like opening and closing your eyes. But try and stay away from packing that shimmer all over your eye. Liner. You want to keep your eyeliner on your top lash line really, really thin. In fact, if you can get away with just tight lining your upper lash line, that's what I would recommend. It's all about making the lash line appear thicker and making the base of your lashes look thicker. You want to avoid having that a look of an actual line on your eyelid. That's just going to take up precious real estate that is basically take away from your eyeshadow. But also, if you have an eyelid that sags or is really hooded, like I was kind of looking at my eyes the other day, and I'm like, you know, I have a hooded eye, and I'm like, when did that happen? I feel like I had more of a eyelid and crease a couple years ago, and now that's non-existent. Thanks to makeup, I can kind of change that. But when you have a pencil eyeliner or a kohl eyeliner on your lash line, if you have a really hooded eye or a lid that has a lot of folding or wrinkles to it, then what's just gonna happen is over the course of the day, it's just gonna transfer and make a big mess. So try and avoid that if you can. Just tight line, or just take your eyeliner and really work it into the base of your lashes, or just skip it and find a really thickening mascara. Chanel Volume is a really great one, and also Lash Paradise, L'Oreal is a good one, and just wiggle that at the bases so you're almost creating the look of eyeliner there without having to do it. But whatever liner you do use, make sure that it is very long wearing. I would stay away from kohl waxy pencils, and I would go with gel liners that are waterproof. Like when you're at Sephora, you're testing something out, put it on your hand and let it dry, and then see how hard it is to smudge, okay? If it smudges at all, stay away from it. If you can't make that thing budge, then that's what you want to go for. I will link some down below that I really like. I'll do that with all the different categories. I'll link shadows, I'll link liners, I'll link my mascaras that I love. Anything that I think would be a great product for you, I will be sure to link it down below. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to also say, do your eyes first. So if you've never done that before, try doing that. Sometimes we have fallout with eyeshadow, and if you have any wrinkles under the eye and eyeshadow gets caught between there throughout the day, it's just gonna muddy your foundation, and you're gonna see that. So just try to do your eyes first and then your foundation. I think you'll notice that your skin will just have a brighter, more fresh appearance. If you don't have a problem with fallout and you love doing your foundation first, then, you know, more power to you, keep doing that. But if you have a problem with fallout and with shadow getting stuck in any like crow's feet or fine lines around the eyes, then try it in your eyes first and then wipe it away with a makeup wipe. Simple trick, but it's a really great one if you're not already doing that. With liner, with the gel liner, at the very ends, flick it up. Don't follow the natural lash line, because as we age, gravity takes over and everything kind of droops, and including our lash line. So following that lash line is just gonna make your eyes look a little droopier. So make sure that when you get out to the outer part of your lash line, just kind of flick that up a little bit. I mean, I do it now, and it's just really gonna help elongate that eye and lift that eye up. A really great brush for that trick is the 206 by Sigma. It's a tiny little winged liner. It's like the smallest winged liner brush I've ever found. It basically makes winged liner Easy, easy peasy. I mean, you almost can't mess it up. And I'm not talking winged liner like dramatic out to here. I'm talking like baby teeny tiny flick. And I will link that down below. And the last product that I would recommend is grabbing a Longwear cream shadow stick. So I just grabbed this one by Bobbi Brown. This is a matte one. Using a shimmer one is fine too. I actually did a video recently using a Bobbi Brown shimmer one that I will link that video down below, and I will link the product down below. But these are really great because they're creamy and they glide on really easily. You can actually blend them out with your finger, and they are long wearing, so they will be your best friend. And you can even use these underneath the lower lash line as a little bit of eyeliner there as well. I hope this video taught you something. I hope it gave you a new tip or trick or product recommendation that you didn't already know. Please let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if you want me to do my mom's makeup on my channel, and I would be happy to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and that's all I got. So you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.